Disclaimer, the following product was given to me by the developer, but all opinions expressed are my own. If you wish to experience this game for yourself, you can follow the link in the description below. I ask you all to remember that this game is still in development. All opinions and criticisms may change as the development cycle continues, with new versions being released. But as of right now, this is the newest version of the game. With that being said, let's get to the video. Welcome to How Bad Can It Be, the series where we look at terrible games so you don't have to. It's finally back. It's been way too long, and I'm just glad to be back, and I thank you for your patience in putting up with radio silence while I sit there dealing with stuff. Today is a unique situation as I'm covering a game by the request of one of its developers. Developer Gizmomech was looking for a few people to play his game within the community I'm part of, and I, along with a few others, put our names down. A couple of hours later, and voila! I've got myself a new game to review, so strap on and get ready for some spooks, because today we're looking at 3177. 3177. 3177. Look, I don't actually know how you say it, but we're looking at it anyway. 317.7 is a horror game in the vein of the old Slender games of years gone by. Developed by Gizmomech and a team of 3 across 3 months, 31 to the power of 77 was made to show people that anyone with a proper drive can make a video game, but only those with patience can see it through. A message that somewhat relates to the How Bad Can It Be series, as I have covered at least 2 games so far that have been abandoned mid-development. Those games being Lost Base Escape and New Kind of Adventure. And now with a library of 700 plus games at my disposal, you will be seeing a lot more. There isn't much of a story to the game in its current form, taking the commonly used less is more style from the aforementioned Slender games. You find yourself stuck in a forest at night being chased by the antagonist. In this case, that would be this glowing red guy, who I will from now on refer to only as Satan. There isn't much more to it than that. There doesn't really need to be either. The power a lot of these games have is the mysteries held within them. Whether any story will be coming or not in the future is up to the dev team, but it definitely isn't the biggest concern right now. Graphically, 31/77 obviously isn't going to be AAA standard. Textures on the trees aren't the greatest, but still do a good job at conveying the landscape, and with the game being at night and you spending a lot of your time sprinting away from things, stuff like the trees and fog really don't make a difference. There are, however, 2 elements of this game graphically which are in desperate need of an overhaul, however. Number 1, that fire on the menu screen. See that little GIF there? Do you see it? Yeah, that. I'd consider changing that soon because, well, it's not good. Number 2, Satan. Satan needs some work done to him to make the game a little more horrifying. As it stands, Satan is an average height dude, maybe taller with the horns, with really bad texturing, especially on the face. Now, I know that in such a small time frame they are going to create something to blow up the internet like FNAF did, but I'm saying this because I think he should be the focus of the changes. As of right now, when you're caught by Satan, you were taken out of what should be a horrible experience due to just a not terrifying appearance. He has these blotches for eyes, and that's about it, honestly. I reckon more time spent on making Satan a more imposing figure would do the game a world of good, because right now he's kind of just a nuisance. One of the things presentation-wise that is going down the right track though is the audio, not going too overboard and keeping it to a minimal. The atmosphere created in this game does a pretty decent job of not creeping out the player too much, and instead sucks them in further. The footsteps entrancing a player, setting up for the inevitable big scare. Believe me when I say that too, when Satan shows his mug, you will know about it, and you will know big time. His scream to alert the player of his presence is extremely loud, almost deafening me when I first heard it, and actually making me jump. Seriously, this was my first reaction to that scream. Oh my god! Oh, that thing is very loud. The downside is, once you've heard it the first time, the law of diminishing returns strikes it hard, as is the case in most horror games of this nature, and eventually the player's just using the scream as a way to signal using the sprint button instead of being afraid. And I know it just sounds like I've ragged on everything there, the presentation is genuinely a non-issue. Sorry to throw it in there once again, but it just reminds me of the old Slender projects I'd see popping up all the time, playing them way back in 2012 with my friends on my crappy little laptop, laughing because one of them got scared and jumped. As it is with all things in art and entertainment, what's old can be new again, and after half a decade of being buried by new wave horror games like FNAF, seeing one of these old Slender style games pop up again is extremely refreshing, and brings a different flavour to the horror landscape currently dominated by its successor. 31 divided by 77 starts as all of these games do. You the player, stuck somewhere you don't know, armed with only a flashlight and your sanity, on a quest to collect 7 to 10 objects of the game's desire. In the case of 108 here, you have to find memories. The reason why I'm curious to see if a story is eventually added to the project. What memories are we finding? Why are we doing this? How is Satan involved? The Game Jolt page mentioned something about running through your own subconscious, which is an idea I would love. Stuff like that can be super trippy and would make for a unique experience, so if that's the route the team is going for, I say more power to them. When walking around, you will notice that the flashlight you pick up at the beginning of the game is kinda useless. The game is pretty bright as it is, not too bright as to suggest daytime, but you can clearly see where you're going without it. You may as well just remove it. A flashlight is so common across these games that it could be interesting to see a game just not utilize them. Could create a much more desperate atmosphere. The flashlight drains down quickly and you can replace its battery, but I would love to see the only sources of light in this game be the memory locations and Satan himself. Good old Billy Bighorns. The other element I wish to talk about is the sprint mechanic in the game. Weirdly, it's bound to space by default, which led to a confused me not being able to sprint for a while. That mistake by me aside though, we have a meter up the top there. I think that should be removed. A visual stamina indicator as obvious as this tends to remove players from the experience, but traditional fear being easily replaced by don't worry, I've got loads of stamina left. I like the thought into putting it there, but something more hindering like vision blur would be really cool to see. Make it a risk to use the sprint, but a necessity nonetheless. Speaking of sprinting, let's talk about Satan. That boy can run. Like, dear Lord, can that boy run. When he teleports in, he just full on pelts his way towards you like the T-1000 Terminator 2 style. You can outrun him when looking away, but if you turn or stutter even for a second, Satan is getting you. This is where his glowing effect is great, because as he catches up to you, the ground around you suddenly becomes redder and redder until you are caught. There could be some argument to make him a little slower, but I like the idea of him sprinting at you. The sense of urgency you feel to get away from him is pretty good. Fix some of the teleporting though, guys. Having him visibly teleport can be an issue, which breaks the immersion just a tad. 3.177 is a game which I've compared to Slender many times throughout the course of this video, but do not take the comparison as a negative thing. I enjoyed those games way back then, and I enjoyed my time with this game today. Providing a more casual approach to horror, 31-77 is a game that anyone can play, regardless of their opinions of horror titles. You can pop in, have a couple of scares, and then get friends that play it, do the same, and laugh at them because they got scared. It's not too hardcore to alienate players, yet not too dull to both fans of the horror genre. I guess that leaves me with one question though. 3177. How bad can it be? Honestly, this is one of those rare occurrences where I found myself enjoying a game too much to tear it to shreds over anything. Sure, the graphics aren't the best and whatever, but when you consider the dev team's size and time frame, they've done a pretty great job to make a fun little game like this. With development continuing at a nice pace, hopefully this game will continue to get better and better. I just hope any tips or thoughts I had were of any of use. I'm giving 3177 a 6 out of 10. Seriously though, guys, think of a different name, please. Well, that's it for today. A little unique flavor of how bad can it be to bring me back into 2018. I had a blast making this content again, and I just hope you guys enjoyed watching it as much as I did making it. Not sure what's coming next, but I have a lot of ideas for the future, and I hope you will stick around for them. If you plan to, hit that subscribe button, that bell, and anything else YouTube has added since I've been gone. One more how bad can it be right now? Good thing. I have a little playlist right there with every episode ever. People really like my Luda Supremo video for some reason. I do suggest that one, I guess. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch, both at VividChim, to keep up to date with everything I do. As always, I've been VividChim, and I'll see you all soon. Goodbye, everyone.